Hey guys, so H1Z1 has finally launched into early access, and I picked it up because this is a game I've kind of been excited to take a look at. And the reason being is that most of the games that have been as kind of survival, zombie survival games, such as DayZ, Rust, they're more PvP focused, and that's really all they offer. If you're looking for more of a PvE experience, it's just not really there. And H1Z1 is the first game where they're trying to cater to that audience as well. So if you want to play the PvP aspect of it, more of a DayZ kind of type server, you can get that. But if you also want a PvE server where it's more focused on zombie survival and kind of building that community and building kind of like a base of operations and working with other people and things of that nature, this is the game that it's kind of going to be more for you. One of the first things that I noticed that I really liked about this game is that they're offering various different kinds of servers to play on, and it's not just the PvP PvE aspect like I said, but for example the server that I picked has a locked first person perspective, and it also requires headshots to kill zombies. Now they've also said already that they want to expand this kind of options and make very tailored servers so you can really kind of get the experience that you want when playing the game, whether you want to play in third person, first person, whether you want kind of a hardcore when you die you lose everything, or when you die you don't lose anything, or sometimes when you die you only lose your recipes. These are all options that they're going to offer in the future with different servers. Currently you're unable to modify your default character and will have to play as a character that looks just like everybody else in the game, but in the future you'll be able to customize your character's look and feel, and they haven't really went into details as far as how in depth we'll be able to get with our character design, but you will be able to play as both male and female. One of the problems I do have with the game right now is it currently launched with no key rebinding, and this is a big deal for me because as a left-handed player it makes it very awkward for me. However, the game does have a typical kind of FPS key layout which most players will be used to. Now, while hopefully I'm going to do some more coverage of this game in the future, I just kind of wanted to give you a basic rundown of what I think about the early access version and whether you should pick it up or not. And I'm basically going to put it this way: if you're the kind of person who likes to actively join a games community and give feedback to the developers and give bug reports and watch a game kind of develop over time, then I would say if you're interested in this, then go ahead and pick it up. If you're one of those kind of players that doesn't want to deal with the hassle of a lot of bugs, a lot of systems that are kind of quirky or don't really work fully yet, you're probably going to want to wait until this is a little more advanced before you pick it up. The game plays itself fine, but it does have a long kind of list of bugs right now. Things like zombies on roofs, zombies that don't do anything. There's a lot of kind of graphical glitches and quirkiness. It's an early access game. What can I say? And you're going to have to expect a lot of that if you're going to get into this and want to play it right now. As far as the game systems itself, there are in effect, and they have things like thirst and hunger and energy and all that. And that's actually one of the quirks that I don't really like about the game right now, is because there is a bug in the game where stuff wasn't respawning in containers. Now, whether this was the problem I was having or not, I'm just not sure, because there were a lot of people on the server. Now, I was having trouble finding food, and for 30 minutes I searched for food, and outside of blackberries I could not find anything to eat in the game or drink. So I was slowly starving to death over the course of about a half an hour, 45 minutes, and this entire time I searched cabinet after dresser, armoires, everything you can find in different houses in a small city I came across. I could not find one single can of food, one bottle of water. I couldn't find anything. So basically, my character was reliant on having to pick blackberries just to stay alive, which is really a nuisance because the blackberries only give a very small amount of energy and hydration, so you're constantly having to either pick a huge amount of blackberries or constantly staying in a location where you can easily find and have access to those. Like I said, I don't know if that was the problem with the bug that I had heard about, where containers weren't respawning items and there's supposed to be more to be found. I really don't know yet in my limited kind of gameplay that I've sunk into the game so far. I have seen other streamers play the game, and they found a shitload of stuff. I mean, cans of food, weapons laying everywhere, there. The only thing I found was a dirty empty needle, which didn't do me much good when you're starving to death. So I think it could have been the subject of that bug where it just wasn't respawning in the containers, and that's why I was having a lot of problems. Now, as far as the combat in the game, it's kind of wonky right now. It's very kind of hard to take out zombies sometimes because I'm playing on a server where they require headshots to kill, and the weapons aren't necessarily, especially the homemade cheap bow. Doesn't feel all that accurate sometimes. It feels like the physics of the projectile aren't kind of on par with where they should be. A lot of focus is on melee weapons too, and they feel kind of just janky right now, and the animations are again kind of janky, but overall it works. One thing I am kind of disappointed in is that zombies really aren't a threat in this game right now, mostly because they just don't appear in large enough numbers. All the zombies I've come across have been like maybe single, maybe a pair. I think the largest group I've seen in the entire time I played was like 3. And they do move very slow. They kind of amble towards you. They're more like Romero types of zombies. Although when they do get close, they will kind of do this really short kind of lunge sprint at you, which can make it difficult if you're like aiming with a bow to try to take them out when they're close, because they do that. So, but overall, they're not big of a threat. People who are playing on the PvP servers are probably just mainly dealing with other people. The zombies, they're not even something that really are a danger right now, and I'm hoping to see that in the future they really kind of up the density in some of these locations where they might congregate and whatnot, and I'm sure they will. They've said that they want their zombies to actually be a threat in the game. They want people to actually have to worry about them and the noise they're making and how they're moving in open areas and whatnot. So whether they get to that point or not, we'll have to see. I'm really hoping they do, because that's the whole kind of aspect of the PVE server, is that you kind of want that zombie survival where you're worrying about those. It's not the other players you're afraid of getting you, it's the zombies. So we're gonna have to just wait and see over the course of the early access how they develop that, and I'm sure they have some ideas on how they want to improve that system. I really think that the food system, as far as the hydration and energy that you get from food, it really needs to be prolonged a bit to where it doesn't drop down as fast. It feels like you're spending way too much time in the game looking for this food to consume. And I know you're going to say, well, that's the point of the game, is like looking for stuff and scavenging. Yeah, but at the same time, it shouldn't feel like you're constantly starving all the time and that you're constantly having to look for just food itself. I would rather go out and be able to spend more time exploring and looking around and finding new locations and things of that. And obviously the whole survival aspect of the hydration and eating and everything is important, but I don't think it should be the main focus of what you're trying to be doing out there. And so, I'm wondering if they're maybe going to have a server version where that's prolonged and not as problematic, but we'll have to wait and see there. So if you're into zombie survival horror and you really want to check out this game, like I said, just be prepared for some like kind of the quirkiness and the jankiness and the bugs, and they're actually doing a pretty good job so far. They seem to be really kind of on the ball trying to fix some of these early bugs, and then they're going to progress, adding in new features and whatnot from there. I actually think the game is very playable, but you just kind of have to expect the quirkiness and expect the wipes that are going to come. And just, if you're interested and you want to see this game succeed and you want to help build it into something that's going to be a great game, then, join the community. There's a lot of players so far. The PVE servers have been very full, which doesn't surprise me because this is the first game that's kind of catering to those people, that's giving them an option to participate in a game like this, where it's more about the kind of the community and working together. And I'm excited to see how it turns out. It's going to be a long ways before the game's actually finished and released into its free-to-play form, but it's a good start, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think it's actually going to be a game that beats DayZ as far as the go-to zombie survival game. And fans of DayZ probably won't like that, but I think it has the potential to be a greater game. So, like I said, I'm going to cover it more in the future. It's going to be more exciting things to come, and thanks for listening.